Which uses rhythm.
So, may I come in?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Morning, sir. Morning, sir.
Please have your seat.
Thank you, sir.
RAVI KUMAR.
Yes, sir.
Ravi, have you developed any symptoms of the COVID?
No, sir. Up until now, I have not developed any symptoms.
So the distance is safe. You can take
Yes.
away the mask for clarity of expression.
Okay, sir.
Ravi,
Yes, sir.
without making any direct or indirect references to your religion, region, caste, gender, or creed, introduce yourself to the board in terms of values and virtues that you hold very dear. Yes, go on.
Sir, my name is RAVI KUMAR. I am an enthusiastic person. I am the person who likes to explore things more. I've explored multiple fields, field of art, field of engineering, and others. I like challenges, and I also like the zone of pushing myself up for the opportunity that anything that comes forward to. And my interest lies in guitar. My current interest lies in guitar and roller skating.
Are you aware about Aditya L1?
Yes, sir.
Your name is Ravi. Does
Yes.
that have any connection with the name Aditya?
Sir, Ravi is a synonym to sun, and Aditya L1 is a project that India is India's first project focused on sun, where we are going to put a specific instrument at L1 position.
And what is that position?
Sir, L1 is a Lagrange position. That position, that position has a specific features such as, I'm not so sure about it, but if you allow me, I can make an intelligent guess. Sir, I think it is at a very safe distance from the sun, from where its features can be analyzed, such as the solar wind that are emanating from it, the magnetic qualities of the sun, and so forth.
What is the difference, Ravi, between solar winds and solar flares?
I'm sorry, sir, I'm not aware of it.
Are you aware about the average temperature of photosphere?
Sir, it is roughly around 6,000 degrees centigrade.
Degree centigrade or Fahrenheit?
Sir, I think it is degree centigrade.
You celebrate your birthday on 14th of July.
Yes, sir.
Can you tell me the significance of this date in world history?
So, 14th of July has many incidents which are remarkable in the history. One such is the French Revolution started on this specific day when the Bastille prison was being thrown open by the revolutionaries of French Revolution. Another more significant, which in my opinion is also very, very important incident that happened on this day, was the collaboration of two of the elites of their own specific field. One was Rabindranath Tagore and another one was Albert Einstein. They came together, they met, and they talked about the ever growing clashes between religion and rationality of the science. So, sir.
You talked about French Revolution.
Yes, sir.
What idea of French Revolution has the largest acceptance today in India? That many ideas emanated from the French Revolution?
Yes, sir.
According to your view, which of those ideas find greatest acceptance today amongst the masses in this land?
Sir, in my opinion, there are three most important values that were emanating from that place, that were incorporated in Indian society. They were first one was liberalization, liberal. Another one is equality, and the last one is also brotherhoodness. These were also incorporated in our constitution.
If you have to choose one between liberty, equality, and fraternity,
yes,
one, what will you choose and why?
Sir, if I have to choose one, I would go for equality over liberty. I'm sorry, sir. So I would choose equality why is why being asked, sir? This is important. Equality comes before liberty, because the first and foremost goal of a nation should be to provide equality for having a social welfare in the society. It is of course, it is not a prerequisite for liberty, but it is, in my opinion, is more important than liberty. However, liberty can be brought into with a phased manner, because if we go for liberty without equality, then that would entail the rule of few who were being advantaged by that specific feature against other people who are disadvantaged. So equality would be my preference, sir.
What is the difference between equality and equity?
Sir, equity is a term which refers to the distribution of any resource, where we are talking about the equal distribution of a specific resource, whereas equality is more of a philosophy which entails many regions. Two specific regions that Indian Constitution also talks about is equality before law and equal protection of law. So it's kind of more of a philosophy, and that is more on the side of the distribution of equality.
When the state makes some certain programs for the welfare of the Divyang, the state is focusing on which aspect of equality?
Sir, may I ask you for the clarity? Are you talking about the Divyang peoples?
Yeah. You understand who are Divyangs?
Sir, the specially able people.
Especially able people.
Yes,
so
sir.
if the state makes some specific programs for their upliftment, economic empowerment, social welfare, or in some you can say for their general welfare. So the state is focusing on which aspect of equality?
Sir, I can make an intelligent guess about it. Sir, in my opinion, it is equality before law that we are going for.
Equality before law or equal protection?
Sir, as far as I know, equal protection of law would mean that like should be treated like should be treated like. So yes, sir. If we draw from that conclusion, it should be equal protection of law, sir.
Okay, you talked about Rabindranath Tagore.
Yes, sir.
One of your answers, you made a crude reference to him. What is his conception of statehood? What are his ideas about nation state?
Sir, I'm not sure about this answer.
Your optional subject is geography?
Yes, sir.
Can you tell me something about spatial emancipation? Have you heard this term?
I'm sorry, sir. I'm not heard.
Are you aware about anarchist tendencies in geography?
Sir, I have just bleak idea about it. I'm not sure about it.
Please go ahead.
These are those group of people who promotes the idea of the radical changes that should be brought forward in order to bring more social justice. If I can go forward, in my opinion, these are those people who believe in the radical change of the institutions and all those in order to provide the equitable resource distribution and also the social development of the entire society.
Was Gandhiji an anarchist, according to you?
So, in my opinion, he was not an anarchist. He was a very scientific guy who first chose constitutional means for protest. Then he went for the peaceful protest. He did not ask it for a violent uprooting of the institutions. He demanded that the society should understand the changes that they want to go forward to.
So you will call him a reformist or a revolutionist, Gandhiji?
Sir, in my opinion, he is more of a reformist than a revolutionist, because his major focus was to reform the people, because according to his idea, even if we get rid of the Britishers from Indian land, Indian soil, that would not mean the true freedom of the country. The true freedom will only come when the entire society will not be ruled by others if the Britishers leave the vacuum open.
Do you understand what is a primate city? Do you understand the concept of primate city?
Yes, sir. Primate city is a city which has grown disproportionately from the other regions in a settlement complex. So
do you think Alwar is a primate city?
Sir, in my opinion, Alwar would not be classified as a primate city because So because it has many other comparable size of the city in the nearby region of itself only, in Rajasthan only. For example, Jaipur, Dosa, these cities are also having very high economic, social economic activities being going on. So calling it a private city, I don't think that the disproportionality lies so much that we can call it a private city.
If we have to choose between aptitude and attitude, what should we choose and why, according to you?
Sir, according to me, attitude should have been given priority over aptitude, because sir, the aptitude is something that is innate to us. For example, if a specific person is good in maths, he would do good in math. However, attitude is something that he starts to grow, he starts to develop as he grow. So even if a person is very good in some aptitude and his attitude lies in a negative connotation, then that would be very severe, that would be very harmful for our society. One of the greatest example that we can take is Hitler. Hitler has one of the best aptitude regarding the military organization, regarding what should be done, and he is one of the best decision maker that society has seen. But his attitude towards the society was highly negative. So sir, my idea would be to go for the attitude and not for the aptitude.
What are the present problems that you see that are ingrained, that stem from bureaucratic attitude?
Sir, a bureaucratic attitude entails...
Do you understand by this word, bureaucratic attitude? Is this a positive word or is it a negative word? It is used in what context?
Sir, it is a negative word which is used to show the ingrown attitude of the bureaucrats, which make them feel that they are somehow above the society, and which make them somehow believe that they are the one who are providing the society. It is not the service that they are doing, it is something that they are doing which is bigger than the cause. So it is that attitude. But this has multiple issues. For example, the core of this of the service is that we are the servant of the people. We are not someone who rule the people. If luckily I become an IAS officer or any other person for that matter, or any other officer for that matter, so my first job would be to facilitate the people in order to, so that they can realize the rights that they have, they can enjoy the freedom, they can enjoy the schemes that are allotted to them, and so on and so forth. So a bureaucratic attitude entails those problems in it. Other such problem would be to delay the things, the schemes that are already implementing. And the final problem I would say is the idea of higher than the other people that they are serving for.
Do you understand the meaning of the word justice?
Yes, sir.
Understand what is justice?
Yes, sir.
If you are given choice to prefer one over the other, what will you prefer between justice and integrity? You have to make a choice. What will be your choice? And defend your choice.
Sir, in my opinion, I will go for justice, and I would try to modify a little bit of integrity if justice is at the stake. The reason being, the core of this of any service should be to provide the services to the people, and if I understand that through a little bit of modification to my integrity, I can provide larger service to the justice to the people. That is more important, especially if the justice is certain and it is immediate, because in my opinion, a justice delayed is also a justice denied. So for me, justice would come first if I have to compromise one of them.
Which kind of justice you hold as the highest form of justice? There are different types of justice. Which form of justice you hold as the highest form of justice?
Sir, I'm not aware of many justices. I'm just aware of social justice, where...
Have you heard about distributive justice?
Sir, I've heard about it, but I'm not so sure about it.
Ravi,
yes, sir.
Your mail ID interests me. Ravi Marine.
Yes, sir.
Marine I can understand, but what is Ravi Marine?
Sir, this ID I made when I was in 6th or 7th class. During that time, multiple shows used to come in Discovery Channel. regarding the armed forces of other nations like US, Europe, and other people, and UK and other countries. Largely, they will feature the people who are from the marine forces of their own specific countries. I was fascinated by that a lot. I also wished to join some of them when I was kid, not understanding the difficulties that it has, that they do not allow any other country or something. So this was an innocent want to make something unique of my mail ID. So I made Ravi Marine 14.
Did you by any chance ever attempt to get into the defense services?
Yes, sir. As a matter of fact, in 2019, I attempted for Central Armed Police Forces. Yes, sir. So that is the only attempt that I have made.
For defense services, that is actually a police force.
So that is a police.
Did you try for the defense services, NDA or the services selection board?
No, sir. I have not attempted. I went for SSB though. I went for the interview also. However, I was disqualified on the second day only. So.
You went for SSB?
Yes, sir.
Which SSB was that?
Sir, it was in 10th class SSB. Not, I think it is in 8th class, sir.
No, what is that? There must be NDA.
Sir, I'm not sure.
8th class, there is no SSB in 8th class.
Sir, it was in 10th or it was in 8th. I think it is in 10th. I went for SSB where 4 to 5 days of camp that happens, and I was disqualified on the second day only.
You come from Alwar?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Tell me something about Alwar. The place fascinates me. Tell me something about Alwar.
Sir, Alwar is actually a very culturally vibrant city. It has multiple heritage sites. It has also like forts, many temples which are very, very famous. Aravalli is very, very green at that part of Rajasthan. I've seen Aravalli in multiple other districts also, but I've not seen it as green as there. That is in Alwar, and Alwar is also very good tourist attractive force. Recently, there are many economic activities going on. It is developing as economic also, because it lies at the center point between Jaipur and Delhi, which are the two biggest cities which can be there in the neighborhood of it. So, sir, it is really growing very, very good.
Yeah, I've heard that in Alwar there is something called as Havan that takes place every year to avoid the rains coming in, to stop the rains. Is it true?
Sir, I have not heard of any such thing.
How did Alwar get its name?
So there are multiple theories of Alwar got its name. My source being Wikipedia, it says 3 different theories, out of which I believe most possible is, sir, there was a tribe called Salwar that used to live around there only. So some people say Salwar also came from the Aravalli region in which it lives. So Salwar became Salwarpur, Salwar, and then it became Alwar. This is also recognized by Cunningham. There was a surveyor of British era time. This is also accepted by him also.
Okay, your date of birth you said is 14th of July.
Yes, sir.
And you love playing guitar.
Yes, sir.
Right? Do you share your birthday with any musical person?
Sorry, sir, I am not aware of it.
Music director Roshan was born on the same date. You also said your hobby is hockey.
Sir, hockey is one of my hobby.
Now, there was a person, a very important person, captain of the Indian hockey team, women's hockey team, who shares the birthday with you.
Oh.
Do you have any idea?
I'm sorry, sir, I don't have idea of it.
Prem Maya Soni, she was the captain of the Indian hockey team also. She was a member of the 83 Asian Games gold medalist team.
Oh.
Okay. Prem Nagar.
Yes, sir, this is current location.
Good. Good name.
Thank you, sir.
Your father's name is Mr. Prahlad Singh.
Yes, sir.
Right? And it's associated with a different sort of a frame there. The name Prahlad. What was that?
Sir, I think you are referring to the love of Bhakt Prahlad, which is in Indian mythology to the god, and which was also who was also miraculously saved against the vicious plan of Holika, who tried to
Vicious plan of Holika.
of his father who appointed his sister. So, sir, that is the love of God that my father, and apparently my father also like believe in that story today.
Okay, you said hockey is your hobby.
Yes, sir.
Tell me something about Dhanraj Pillai.
Sir, Dhanraj Pillai was
Very unique about him.
So I'm not aware of the unique about him, but when I was very kid, a lot of highlights of the matches which featured him used to come on national television, and he's one of the most he's an icon who started to revisit to recalibrate Indian hockey team, which it used to be during the time of 1936, 1928, and those Olympics. He is also one of the role model of Sandeep Singh, who is also known as the flicker, the Indian flicker, drag flicker. Yes, sir.
Okay. He's participated in 4 Olympics, 4 World Cups, 4 Champions Trophy, 4 Asian Games. Are you aware of that?
Dhanraj Pillai, sir? I'm not sure.
He's also the first Khel Ratna awardee.
Oh.
Right. And any other player that you are aware of who participated in 4 Olympics in hockey?
Sir, I'm aware of a person who appeared for 3 Olympics. His name is the magician of hockey. But sir, if I'm not so sure about it. But his brother was also played alongside with him, Roop Singh. And sir, he went for 1 Olympic ahead of the 1936. After the 1936, the Olympics held in 1948 because of the 2 World War that got stalled. So I think he featured in that also. But specifically, any person who has featured in 4 Olympics, I'm not sure about it, sir.
Dhanraj Pillai and Dhyanchand.
Dhanraj Pillai and Dhyanchand.
And anybody who's won 3 gold medals at hockey Olympics?
Sir, Dhyanchand has made. He's being the part of the team who has won 3 consecutively gold in 1928, 1932, 1936. I'm not sure about it. Balbir Singh. I'm not sure about it, sir.
You also said something about hobby being inline roller skating.
Yes, sir.
Now, what is the difference between inline roller skating and quad roller skating?
Sir, quad roller skating is the one where there are 2 lanes of wheels where the wheels lie on the either side of the foot. Whereas inline roller skating is the one where all the 4 wheels lie in the same line.
How many wheels are there in this?
Sir, it depends. The one that I use is the 4 wheel. Some people also use 3 wheels, and specifically those people who do a little bit of freestyle inline roller skating, they use 2 because it allows better maneuverability and a little bit more speed that is necessary to have.
How did you get in fond of inline roller skating? It's a very new concept in India as such. It's not very common yet.
So it is not common, but during my second and third classes, I always wanted to. I was big fond of my quad skates that I always had, and I wanted to go for 1 step ahead. So the 1 step ahead, in my father's opinion, was an inline skating only. So he got me there during my third classes, and yes, it is a little bit riskier because of the speed that it provides, but it is more fun to maneuver with it.
Do you play any other games?
So I play table tennis also. I've been playing cricket for a long time.
So I did not ask any questions about cricket in any case.
Sir, I'm not an ardent follower of the cricket, but I play cricket. These days, I'm playing table tennis.
But what is your view about IPL as does it help improve the game of cricket, or do you think it has helped only financially the game of cricket?
Sir, as we have said, IPL is one of the most financial event that happens because of the amount of money that it sponsors, the money that it gives to the players. However, the intrinsic thing that it provides also is a big platform to the regional players. So the regional players get an opportunity, a little bit of exposure to play with the international level of players. For example, if we take any team, it is kind of a mandatory to provide some Indian players also. There is a restriction on the number of international players that you can take on. So overall, it is a very good way through which the national and more regional talent is being recognized. However, the finance part is going a little ahead of the other games, so it may be a little bit irrational. So we can try to look forward to have some rational spending on this event, especially at a time in COVID-19 when we require a little more finance also. If we can source it through the other organizations, it would be a good way.
Ravi,
Yes, sir.
is betting legal in India, Ravi?
Sir, betting, I think betting is not illegal. It is not legal. However, I know that there are multiple applications which are using the betting as a field to get more and more viewers. So in that context, I would say that of course they would have been doing it legally. So betting would have been legal.
Don't you think government is contradicting itself by allowing such kind of apps? On one hand,
Yes, sir.
government says betting is illegal,
Yes, sir.
but nowadays, in last 4-5 years, there are multiple apps which have been developed,
Yes, sir.
and they institutionalize betting as such.
Yes, sir.
So don't you think government is contradicting itself by doing such kind of, by permitting such kind of apps?
So in my opinion, it is not a contradiction on the government's part, because government is allowing the private app developers to play their role, there are certain terms and conditions that those applications comes with. They even have to make some precautions over the amount that can be betted on. For example, the application MPL. It has the highest restriction of, I'm not sure, but I think it's around 1 lakh that a person can bet on one game at one time. So there are definitely restrictions on it. Yes, it can be argued that.
Have you played such kind of games?
Sir, I've never been a part of such type of a game, but one of my friend used to bet on this application.
How will you rate such apps on moral compass? Well, morally, is it, or moral, ethically, are they good for the society or not?
Sir, to this I would like to come to a conclusion after understanding 2-3 more facets. First one would be the freedom of the people to do what they wish to do with the finance that they hold. However, this is not absolute. It does not mean that they should bet their entire property or something and then go forward to it. Second thing I would say is, sir, it looks more of a luck kind of a thing, but as I have observed from my friends, it is not just luck. It is the way you analyze the performance of the players that you are playing. Of course, a specific game has the players who are in form, and the players who are out of the form. So if you try to be a little bit analytical about it, you will find it that it is not just luck.
So you mean to say, what I understand is from your point of view,
Yes,
that as it limits the amount you can bet,
yes, sir.
so it is not that bad, right?
Sir, it is not that bad. However, it depends upon the a specific person to person. For example, I would not be entertaining any such money that I would be getting. Any other person, if he has a good amount of finance and if he is in a condition where he can analyze the situation.
If you have the decision making power,
Yes, sir.
to allow or ban such apps, what will you do?
Sir,
allow or ban? Only one option is available. What will you do?
Sir, I will not ban such apps.
So you will allow such apps?
Sir, I will allow such apps, of course with some terms and conditions, but I will allow such applications.
Okay. Ravi, You got Indian Railway Service, right?
Yes, sir.
Last year.
Yes, sir.
So why you are not joining it?
Sir, I've joined the services. I'm on in EOL.
Oh.
I've joined the services.
So you are planning to go ahead if you are not selected for this interview after this?
Sir, if I am not selected with this interview, I will be attempting other attempts also, but I will be going forward with them with my job. So I will be attempting with the job only.
Good. Yes. So your birthplace is Khareda village, right?
It's Khareda village, sir.
How do you pronounce it?
Khareda. Khareda.
Khareda.
Khareda.
Tell me something about that village. A brief history, geography.
Sir, it's a small fortitude type of a place, which is not a big fort. It's a small fortitude type of place which has come up because of the significance of the religious place that it has of the local god called Bhairu Baba. It used to be one of the biggest religious attraction in the local region. However, that has in these days have gone down, and especially after Corona, it has gone.
What about economy of Khareda?
Sir, it is purely an agricultural village. However, some other manufacturing units do exist, but they are at the outskirts of the village. So, in purely it has three different seasons. All the three seasons are practiced in my village: Rabi, Kharif, and Jaid. This is kind of
what crops are grown in your village in Rabi season?
Sir, in Rabi season, this time it was a lot of wheat. However, I've seen 3 or 4 years ago, it used to be a lot of chane. Grams, a lot of grams. So, sir, it is kind of fascinating to know that in a water stressed state of Rajasthan, there is still a region where all the three seasons of the crops are being grown.
Okay, it is because of irrigation facility availability or because of rain?
Sir, it's not irrigation facility. We do not have any big canal or anything going on. Neither do any of the farmers practice sprinkler system or drip irrigation. It's purely because of the amount of rain that it has and a little bit of higher level of the ground level that it entails. However, these days we have seen because of the excessive use, there is an exhaustion of the aquifer and the lowering of the water table.
Okay. In your village, in Rabi season,
yes,
wheat is grown, right?
Wheat, yes sir, wheat and gram both. Gram. But this year,
can you practice micro irrigation in case of wheat? Is it possible to use micro irrigation in wheat?
So it is very much possible. However, I do not know how technologically advanced we are, because I've seen multiple movies also in US region, which is the region of deserty, the western part of US region, which also borders Mexico and other part, where wheat is grown in a very large area. That reduces the yield, but that reduces the per person yield. However, the output is decent enough because of the big amount of area. I've seen that macro irrigation systems like drip irrigation and sprinkler system are being used there. I'm not sure about the technological advancement. Do we have
flood irrigation?
Sir, we do flood irrigation a little bit.
What is that?
Sir, what happens is because moisture is very important, so even before sowing of the seed, we try to flood the field to a certain level and keep it flooding so that the soil get proper moisture. And even during the subsequent irrigation, we provide flood irrigation only. Specifically, wheat also gets flood irrigation in my region.
Have you been to Alwar Fort?
I have been, sir. I have been.
What is length and breadth of Alwar Fort?
Sir, I have no idea about it.
No idea. Do you know before 14th century, which dynasty used to occupy that Alwar Fort?
Sir, I'm not sure about it, but I can make a...
Yes, please.
Sir, it was, in my opinion, it was Matsya dynasty which used to rule over there. However, it was during that time only, but if it was before 14th century or not, I'm not sure about it, sir.
They were Nikum Rajputs. Have you heard about the term Nikum Rajputs?
No, sir, I have not heard about Nikum Rajputs.
Any geohistoric site you know in Rajasthan? Geohistoric site?
Sir, one such site is in my own district of Rajasthan, which is Pandupol, which is famous for the eruption of the water that comes from the mountain. A specific location is there where there is a hole in the mountain. Some people say it comes from the mountain's rock. However, if you go for the deep analysis, it is not the mountain rock that it comes from. It is from the underground because the aquifer line goes very, very high. So it comes out from there. Yes, sir.
Right. Name lakes near Jaipur. There are around 5-6 lakes near Jaipur.
Yes, sir.
What are name them?
So one is Sambar Lake, which is on the border of Nagaur and Jaipur district. Another one would be Jaisamand, which is in the district of Alwar. And sir, I'm aware of these only. No, I'm sir aware of this.
You said Gandhi was a reformer, right?
Sir, in my opinion, he was more of a reformer than revolutionist.
The revolutionist. So, some section of historians say that Gandhi deliberately ignored social reforms. Deliberately. Such as caste system.
Yes, sir.
Gandhiji did not wanted to completely annihilate caste.
Yes.
Like what Ambedkar wanted.
Yes.
What was the reason?
Sir, as you have rightly mentioned, B.R. Ambedkar was towards annihilation of caste, whereas Gandhiji supported caste. The Gandhiji's concept of caste was based more on the occupational efficiency. According to him, a caste, like different type of people, people in a society belong to different castes based on their occupation. So, if everyone does the work that they do with great pride and with great respect, caste system would not be as negative as it is being seen today. So, in my opinion, he was more towards the realization that that it does not matter how small work you are doing. It is the amount of work that you are putting in, the amount of hard work that you do that counts in.
So, but that can even be achieved after annihilation of caste. Why Gandhiji was not in favor of annihilation?
Sir, one possible reason that I would say is if he would straight away go for the annihilation of caste, that would bring a lot of social tension in the society only, because the upper caste people would highly reject it, and this can also cause a little bit of tension in the fabric of the social structure in India that may not be facilitator of the Indian society getting this freedom.
Can we say that Gandhiji gave priority to India's independence rather than social reformation?
Sir, I would not say that. Sir, in my opinion, he kept both parallel, because even he himself was promoting the people who are belonging to the lower caste to understand their own importance in the independence. According to him, independence should come to every person. It should not just come from the foreign rulers.
I'll give you an instance why Gandhiji and social reformation is contradicting each other. Some people say that Gandhiji gave name Harijan to lower caste people, right?
Yes, sir.
So actually, gradually, Harijan itself became synonymous for lower class people. Yes. And lower class people, they started taking it as an offense. They don't call us Harijan.
Yes, sir.
Okay? So, I am asking you that why Gandhiji did not take social reform that much seriously? B.R. Ambedkar was quite serious about it.
Yes.
But Mahatma Gandhi was somewhere ambiguous. Don't you think that?
Sir, I think his idea...
Whose viewpoint do you believe? Mahatma Gandhi's viewpoint or B.R. Ambedkar's?
Sir, I'm more aligned towards Mahatma Gandhi's. Mahatma Gandhi's view. However, I would not strictly rule out the.
If you have to choose, whom will you choose? Whose viewpoint will you choose? B.R. Ambedkar or Mahatma Gandhi?
Sir, with the current position and current knowledge that I have, I would choose Mahatma Gandhi. Mahatma Gandhiji's views, sir.
Okay, Ravi.
Yes, sir.
Your optional happens to be geography.
Yes, sir.
Can you name one local wind which blows in Alwar region?
Sir, Lu will be the one which blows in the almost entire western part of Rajasthan. It also comes up until Alwar.
What's the average height of Alwar with respect to the mean sea level?
So I'm not sure about it.
Okay. So you said that playing acoustic guitar
Yes, sir.
happens to be one of your interests or hobbies.
Yes, sir.
What is binding in an acoustic guitar?
Sir, I beg your pardon, sir.
What does the word binding means with respect to an acoustic guitar?
Sir,
Have you heard
I
about this word?
never heard about binding. sir.
Binding. Okay. Are you aware of something called end pin in an acoustic guitar?
No, sir, I've never heard end pin also.
Okay. Do you have any idea about headstock? Headstock with respect to acoustic guitar?
I'm sorry, sir, I'm unable to recognize these parts at the moment.
Right. There are different parts of the
There,
acoustic,
yes, sir, I do understand there are different parts. If I
but you are
can,
not aware of them.
sir, I'm aware of them. However, I'm not sure about it because that is not something that I regularly think about.
Okay. Have you heard about Mark Knopfler? Do you know him? Mark Knopfler?
No, sir, I don't know about Mahama.
Which acoustic guitarist you like?
Sir, I do not have any specific likes towards the great guitarists that have been there. I genuinely I like those people who can play and sing and who have made it to the good. For example, one such would be Canadian pop star Justin Bieber. However, he would not be called as the greatest guitarist, but I love the way he play because of the synchronization that he has with the voice and the guitar. Another one I would say is Ed Sheeran. In my opinion, Ed Sheeran is an Irish pop star. In my opinion, if he was not, he's more recognized as a singer. But if you remove the singing part of his, he would still be one of the greatest guitarists of all time.
Is acoustic guitar a root instrument in pop music? Or is it an ancillary instrument?
Sir, in the pop music, it is not seen as the prerequisite thing in the pop music. However, I would say that it is gaining very good momentum in these days because of the adoption. Specifically, the finger style, repercussive style that is coming up. I personally play that style only where not just the taps of a specific song, but chords along with rhythm and beats are also played at the same time with the same instrument. With all this integration, I think these days there is more and more versions, covers coming up of the pop songs these days. For example, I myself play multiple songs of Linkin Park with acoustic guitar with the repercussive style.
Are you aware about the flamenco style with respect to finger picking? Are you aware of it?
Sir, I have seen about it. I have not tried, and I'm not like very big like practicer of that also. So I don't know about it as well.
Are you aware about, or have you heard about the term Spanish guitar?
Yes, sir.
What is the difference between Spanish guitar and acoustic guitar?
Sir, Spanish guitar. Sir, apart from the build that it has, because these days acoustic guitars are coming from which has multiple head gears, it is also on the instrument that is being used to play with it. For example, Spanish guitar is being played with a bar. It is capped on the lap, and then we play largely it. The acoustic guitar that these days we are playing is more of a Hawaiian type of guitar. So, in my opinion, that would be the difference, sir.
Since you brought up what is a Hawaiian type of guitar,
Yes, sir.
can you name one important guitarist from India who plays Hawaiian guitar?
Sir, I don't know about it. However, I do know there is a specific person who plays in M. Shankaran's band, who I've seen multiple times have been playing. However, I don't know about his name.
Have you heard about Pandit Vishnu Mohan Bhatt?
No, sir. I'm sorry, sir. I'm not aware of it.
Okay, Ravi, recently a lockdown was imposed,
Yes, sir.
and due to which large-scale migration of labor happened.
Yes, sir.
What are your views with respect to lockdown as a measure to curb the spread of coronavirus? What are your views with respect to this lockdown as a tool?
Sir, my view was lockdown as a tool was necessary, but it was a necessary evilish because of the negative things that happened due to this. Specifically, if we talk about the migration, we have seen hundreds and lakhs of migrants going back to their homes with no security, with no facilities available to them, not just in the transportation but the food and all the other things. So in my opinion and in my observation, there have been a lot of lacunas in the lockdowns that we imposed, but it was very, very necessary, and because of that only we were able to have such minimum impact of COVID, because we know that we are not as equipped as the advanced countries. Even then we were able to check on the COVID situation. So this was kind of a necessary evil that we had to take care.
So you have played hockey.
Yes, sir.
What is the main difference between European style of hockey and Asian style of hockey? Name two major differences between these two hockey styles.
I'm sorry, sir, I'm not aware of it.
Can you define secularism? How do you define secularism? According to your definition. I don't want a bookish definition for it. What is secularism according to you?
Sir, in my opinion, secularism is the viewpoint or an opinion which holds all the religion true, which allows the views of all the religion, which also tolerate the practices of all the religion, and allows the constructive criticism of any specific viewpoint or any specific practice if a specific person is doing.
Okay. Which article in the Indian Constitution you think is the most important article, and if we remove that article or even we downgrade that article to any extent, we would be degrading the sanctity of the Constitution? One article, and why?
Sir, in my opinion, it would be Article 21, because Article 21 talks about the right to life with personal liberty. It is not just a right to life, but but all the other rights that it entails. For example, right to privacy, right to education was also added as an extension to it, Article 21A, and right to marriage. As a matter of fact, it also entails a right to sleep, which I personally enjoy. So, sir, right to life with personal liberty should be, in my opinion, the most important fundamental right that we are given.
How many UNESCO recognized World Heritage Sites in Rajasthan?
I'm sorry, sir, I'm not aware of.
Can you name any UNESCO recognized World Heritage Site from India?
So, one such is the Jantar Mantar in Jaipur only, which was an observatory made by. Sir, I'm not sure about it, but I think it was by Savai Jai Singh. And the person who made this also made 4 more observatories in 4 different parts like Delhi, Ujjain. They were kind of the astronomical observatory units being made at that time.
Are you aware about the recent attack on CRPF Jawans, an ambush in Bijapur?
Yes, so there was a mishap that happened there was a Naxal attack that happened.
So, what are your views with respect to deployment of army to fight Naxalism? Who are fighting this Naxals at present? Which agencies or which forces?
Sir, Naxalism these days is being combated by multiple agencies. For example, there is a Greyhound force in Andhra Pradesh. CRPF is also being deployed in multiple places. Also, there are local people who are employed, which are also making special battalions to fight these Naxal people.
Which is the primary agency fighting Naxalism presently?
Sir, I'm not sure about it.
Do you want to take a guess?
Sir, CRPF would be my guess.
Okay. Media trials.
Yes.
What are your views with respect to media trials? And tell me 3 steps that we can take to stop media trials.
Sir, my firm opinion is that media trials are not the law of the land. They should not be allowed to an extent that we have seen in the recent days of medias. And the 3 ways through which we can actually avoid such type of things to happen is, first, to have very strict regulations on what they are publishing, on what type of panels they are forming, and what type of discussions they are holding. Because if we see the prime time debates these days, the title itself accuses the person of something that he is under trial of. The second thing I would say is to embrace the ethics and ethos behind journalism, because that would give a behavioral shift to not just the people, not just the reporters, but also to the entire organization. And the third thing I would say is the use of nudge theory, because as we have seen, it is very, very effective in actually changing people's attitude and behavior towards something. So we can see there are multiple very, very good examples of the digital media and also established media houses that display on television. For example, NETV is one such example. Rajya Sabha television is another example. So we can try to show them, we can try to promote them and try to collaborate them with the other media houses that are working. So sir, I think these 3 steps would be good enough.
Okay. When you were introducing yourself,
yes sir,
you said that you like challenges.
Yes sir.
So, do you like taking risks in life?
Sir,
Risk averse?
Sir, I used to love the feeling of the risking not just multiple facets of life. For example, it can be pure life also, risking the life, or it could be the risk of losing job or doing something that is not done for. However, these days there is lesser tendency of risking my own self, my own.
Which is the biggest risk that you have taken so far in your lifetime, according to you? Biggest risk that you have taken?
Sir, I had done when I was kid in 3rd or 4th class only. I had done inline roller skating on the national highway. Not national highway, I think it is the ring road. I've done in Delhi during the peak hour, and there were multiple instances I can still remember. I can see the visuals also that I was saved very curiously, and that I had done out of sheer stupidity. I wanted to show to the people that I was surrounded with that I can do it, and soon I realized it is something that you should really not attempting.
So, if you love challenges and risks so much,
yes sir,
why have you filled Zone 4, which is the northeastern region and the Far East, as your last preference? It should go as the first preference, because as far as risks are concerned, be it security related risks or challenges, administrative challenges, infrastructural challenges, urbanization related challenges, demographic challenges, cultural challenges, security related challenges, all challenges are at very high degree in that part of the country.
Yes sir.
There is a basic contradiction now. You said you love risks, and if that is the case, then Zone 4 should become your first option. But surprisingly, I find it is the last option.
Yes sir.
What justifications you extend for that?
Sir, there are multiple reasons why it is at that position. First thing is, sir, the first thing would be the reduction in the idea to risk my life that I have grown in these days. In my opinion, right now is I can do more to the service if I'm not risking myself. Second thing, sir, definitely anyone would be wanting to be at a position, at a place and at a position where he can deliver his service to the maximum. In my opinion, if I'm staying in a place which I know, to whose people I know and where's problem I know, I would be able to execute my responsibilities with a much detail, with which more finite steps. However, this does not mean that I do not like diversity, because sir, but if the zone preference has to be given, then definitely I would be putting the one that I think that I will be doing better in, rather than the other way. However, still risking the opportunities and the love for the risk does not ends at my own region also. So I think, sir, it is not a contradiction in my opinion.
Okay, Ravi, why do you want to join the civil services? What is the motivating factor?
So civil service, there are multiple facets of this answer also. The best thing that I look forward is the diversity, because I understand myself to be a person who would not be to the best of his capability if he keeps on doing the one thing. Specifically, if we're talking about the top 2, 3, 4 jobs, they provide wide array of zone that we can deliver in. For example, we have seen multiple examples of IPS officers doing really good in education field. So the diversity is a very, very important point. Second thing, sir, it provides a good amount of financial stability and also the stability of the tenure. Because being at a position where we are given responsibilities so high, I think it is important that if we are performing those duties, we should have decent amount of security in terms of finance also. And so third thing is I've recently grown way more enthused regarding the civil services ever since I started preparing. I would admit that preparing for civil services was not my ultimate, was not my childhood thing. Slowly, I realized that this is something that is worth attempting for and dying for.
Now summarize everything, whatever you have said, in one word. Why do you want to join the civil service? To do what?
So service.
Public service?
So service, if it is a public service or if it is a parental service or anything. So because I think the same service also extends to my
You have to prefer one. Parents versus society.
Yes, sir.
What will you prefer?
So blindfolded, it would be society, because this is something that I've learned from my father. He has sacrificed a lot because of the work that he's supposed to be done, and he's taught the same thing to me. So it does not matter if it is my parent or something else, it will always be the society that is.
If you want to do public service,
yes, sir,
start an NGO or a social service organization.
Yes, sir.
Do you want an allocation and salary for that to do public service?
No, sir. Sir, there will always be debate in what can be done if you are pursuing for something. For example, if you really like to play, why don't you play something else? Why don't you play something else? There will always be something. It is just a matter of priority, because there are so many other things that comes along with this only, along with this job, that would entice me, that would enthuse me to choose this job. However, doing an NGO is not a bad idea. But sir, it is just a matter of priority that I give civil services.
Okay, so you have studied civil engineering from IIT Roorkee.
Sir, I have.
The government has already spent a lot on you.
Yes, sir.
During your education. Don't you think you wasted a candidate's seat who would have otherwise pursued engineering? And civil engineers play a very vital role in urbanization.
Yes, sir.
In planning.
Yes, sir.
In overall development. But now you are moving towards administration.
Yes, sir.
So don't you think, Ravi, you wasted one important seat of someone who was more inclined towards civil engineering as a profession?
Sir, civil engineering is very important aspect of the service delivery, as we have also mentioned, especially in the drive to infrastructural development that we are seeing. However, in my opinion, I did not wasted the money, because there were so many things that I learned, not just in the engineering but also extra engineering thing that I went through during my college. For example, the scientific approach that I have in my head. I remember while admitting in the college, I was not as scientific, I was not as rational about things as I am today. I think engineering entails me with that. Other thing also, sir, being a specialist in a specific field is always welcomed, because of course, if I become an IS officer or IPS officer and I am given in charge of a specific district, then it would be very, very interesting to see that I also hold the specialization in something which is a very vibrant thing that is going on these days, that is the infrastructure development. So I will be able to provide multiple inputs in that also. And sir, I think engineering over and all has converted me from a child to a man who can think, a man who is mature enough to take decisions. So in my opinion, sir, I will be doing more good now with the amount of knowledge and with the amount of academics that I have gone through than I would have done the otherwise.
Which is presently the biggest infrastructural project that is going on in Rajasthan?
Sir, there is an extension of the Indira Gandhi Canal. The phase 2 is going on. However, is it financially the biggest one that is going on right now? I'm not sure about it, sir. It is actually very big.
Biggest infrastructure project in India ongoing?
Sir, I'm not sure about it. But
take a guess.
Sir, yesterday in the last week only, we have seen the Keen-Betua link project entails 35,000 and some crore rupees.
Which body is funding that project?
Sir, I'm not aware of it, sir. I'll try to look forward to it.
Well, Ravi, you talked about forts. Talked about Nalwar Fort, right?
Yes, sir.
There's also a very famous fort by the name of Angad Fort.
Yes, sir.
It's called the Haunted Fort.
Sir, it is.
Right?
Sir, there are multiple theories why it is haunted and whether it is haunted or not. Some people say that. However, even today also after 6 p.m. When the sunlight goes off, it is mandatory that everyone should vacate the area of Bangad Fort. There are multiple theories why it happens. Some people says that the lady, that there was a queen who was being cursed by a local saint, and then she died, and currently her so-called soul roams around the place. There is also many other theories like some saint himself got buried because of the amount of insult that he received from the king, and he cursed the entire place. So it is still said a lot about it. How authentic it is, I'm not sure about it.
No, but as an engineer, do you buy such theories?
Sir, as an engineer, my rational brain would say that such things may not be true, but I will not totally eradicate if there is something like that is happening over there. However, I will not say that it's supernatural, because we have seen in history from time and again that various phenomena that used to happen, they could have a lot of scientific explanation once we are able to identify what they were, and once we were allowed to analyze them. So if the government allows properly, which I think it has done for the public safety only, to not allow any people to go inside, I think for now it is better to stay away and understand the government's point of view also.
Okay, so at the beginning we talked about your email ID, Ravi Marine.
Yes, sir.
As of today,
Yes, sir.
do we have any aircraft carriers in the Indian Navy?
Sir, India has one aircraft carrier which is in service. Another one is also is being built. I think Vikramaditya is the one which is currently in service, and Vikrant is the one that is being built currently, or the other way around. I'm not sure about it, sir.
You chose geography as your optional subject, right?
Yes, sir.
I don't see much of geography in your schooling and
Sir.
thereafter.
Yes, sir.
How did you choose geography as a subject?
Sir, geography as a subject was something that came along with the preparation. My preparation, as I attempted last year also. Last year was my first attempt when I got Indian Railways account service. So the time limit was very, very less that I had, because I filled the form right after I was about to attempt the paper, right after I completed my graduation. That was the year of my graduation also. I understood that the time is very, very limited. There was a paucity of time. So I realized that I will not be able to assimilate and to control my civil engineering syllabus. So I opted for something that is I can do, that is more rational to me, and that I can also cover within the amount of time that I think that I could do. So I made a decision to go with the geography. Other thing that I would say is geography was something that clicked to me the very first time only, because I've been a good follower of geography ever since my school days also. So I did not give much thought about it whether I should go for anthropology or philosophy or something. I realized that my interest lies in geography. I'll be able to complete that within the set amount of time. So I went for geography also.
That's a very basic question. What is the difference between an archipelago and island?
Sir, an island would be something which is surrounded by water. A land which is surrounded by water. It can be a coral land, or it can be other thing that where there is a land and surrounded by water. An archipelago is a group of islands. For example, we say that Andaman and Nicobar is an archipelago. It's not an island. It entails many islands, which is main Andaman and like hundreds other islands. So archipelago is a group.
So would you say Australia as an island, or is it an archipelago, or is it a continent? What is it?
Sir, Australia is a continent. However, with my previous definition, I would classify it as an archipelago. However, I've never heard that Australian archipelago has done something like that.
You also said, position of distinction leadership that you held in schools or college was as coordinator of accommodation and college cultural fest.
Yes, sir.
What sort of leadership did you display at that?
Sir, it was during my second year that I was a coordinator of my cultural fest, that is also known as THOMSO. It is one of the largest cultural event that happen in any college, any college, not just engineering college in our country. So the number of accommodates they came were very huge for me personally to accommodate, because I've never seen such a large event. I've never handled also. So there were very basic problems that people had. For example, some people would say that they do not like the location of the room. They would want their room to be getting shared by some other person, and small things. However, when we go for an event as big as that, there are specific things that should be done in a specific time. So basically, it was a 3-day event, but if 1 or 2 days just get exhausted to get a room, it would be not enjoyable as pleasurable for them. So small things, small decisions that I had to make, small adjustment that I had to make I am really happy about them, that I was able to make them and I was able to convince them, because of course there was a paucity of land and time. So
was it more of management or was it more of leadership?
So it was more of a management. However, I along with one of my friend were leading the entire team of accommodation. So I would say it entails both of them. A larger part shows the management of it, but sir, because a lot of steps were taken with our consent, with our permission, so I would say it also provides a little bit of leadership exposure.
Leadership is actually more about inspiring.
Yes, sir.
Right? Whereas management is about planning.
Yes, sir.
I thought in this case it's more of planning that you've done.
Yes, sir. It is more inclined towards management.
Okay. Now that you are a civil engineer by profession,
yes, sir,
right, or rather by qualification, yes, and now that you want to get into the services, IAS,
yes, sir,
keeping both these in mind, as a civil engineer, as a IAS officer with a civil background, who do you think would be a role model for you when you join IAS?
So my role model would be two people. One would be E. Sridharan as a civil engineer, because we have seen his tremendous amount of civil engineering capabilities. Another would be M. Vishweshwarya. I'm not much aware of the work that he has done, but the amount of personal conduct, the management in his ideas was something that is so fascinating that I wish I could just be some proportionate to them also. That would be good enough for me. Some of the qualities that I enjoy, that I personally am a big fan of these two people, are their decision making, their attitude of doing right thing at the right time, and not losing the part of integrity. However, I do realize that I have compromised my integrity for justice in your question a bit ahead, but to however extent the problems may go wrong, these people have exhibited the grand amount of values towards the service that they are supposed to do, towards what is expected from them. So, sir, in my opinion, these two people's, I wish I could be just half of as good as these people are, and that would be good enough for me.
E. Sridharan was not from the IAS.
Sir, he's not from IAS, but he was a civil engineer who was
the IES.
Sir, he was from IES, but he was a civil engineer. He made
the engineering services. It definitely makes a connection.
Yes, sir.
Okay. By the way, whose birthday is celebrated as the National Engineers Day?
Sir, it is M. Vishweshwarya, Mr. M. Vishweshwarya.
Okay. One last question. E. Sridharan has now moved from his background,
yes, sir,
to a new field.
Yes, sir.
How happy or unhappy are you with that decision?
Sir, in my opinion, he has all the right that that he want to join a specific political
How
party.
happy are you with his joining the political scene?
Sir, I'm actually a little excited about what comes, because I've seen wherever he has gone, he has brought tremendous amount of changes. So whichever party that he wished to go to, I think he is going to entail those qualities also. And apparently that party is the ruling party of this country also. So I believe that there are going to be some of the the organizational changes are going to be there. He is going to entail those values into the organizations also. So I think it is a very welcoming step that one of the greatest civil engineer is also entailing one of the biggest parties in the world. So it is.
Okay. There will be two major achievements of this issue.
Sir, I am aware of only one achievement, that he was the major person in the Delhi metro project. However, I do have read about the services that he has provided to the other metro services, but I'm not sure about them.
Have you not heard about the Konkan Railways?
Sir, Konkan Railways is one of the best, finest civil engineering example that our engineers have displayed. It cuts through Western Ghats, multiple tunnels, small things. That was done with a very limited amount of project, and traveling through that also it's sufficient. It's self-sufficient not to go to Goa. Traveling through that is self-sufficient to understand the biogeographical richness of this country. I personally have been through that.
Who was instrumental for that?
Sir, I'm not sure, but I think it is E. Sridharan. I'm not sure about it.
But do you think Konkan Railways is only in the Western Ghats or elsewhere also? Have they delivered projects elsewhere apart from the Western Ghats?
Sir, I'm not sure about it.
Ravi,
Yes, sir.
your name coincides with Raja Ravi Verma. Have you heard about him? A famous painter of 20th century.
Yes, sir. He is one of the most famous painters that we have seen.
What do you know about him? What do you know about him?
Sir, Raja Ravi Verma, I know 2-3 things about the work that he has done. He was the person whose famous painting about Saraswati is the one that we see these days on the copies. And he also brought more and more realism in the pictures that was somehow not that much that were undermined in just the preceding era, because we have seen during the company time there was little bit of non-rationality that was being depicted, whereas he went for the Indian philosophical images like goddess Saraswati, mother god. India has a god also, mother as mother goddess.
Why was he criticized at that point of time?
Sir, I'm not sure about it, but I can make a little bit of guess. Sir, in my opinion, he was criticized because of a little bit of sensuality that he used to display in his painting. Sir, in my
okay, just make a comparison between today's nationalism and Tagore's nationalism, and what kind of nationalism you prefer.
Sir, Rabindranath Tagore's nationalism is the revisiting of Indian philosophical ethos, India's way of style. For example, India's educational, the traditional educational system that was there. He would, in his nationalism, that would play a big role. The Shanti Niketan that he found was also one of the features of his nationalism. But today's nationalism is somewhat, in my opinion, misguided one, where we are going not just from nationalism, we are going towards extreme nationalism, where somewhat violence finds its way, violence seeps in. But still, even today, nationalism means paying tribute and following the ideals of all the Nobel laureates that we have, the freedom fighters that we had, and to understand the basic moral and ethos of the Indian societies and culture. So nationalism in a way has not changed much. However, the interpretation of nationalism that these days people are going towards a little bit of extremism, Extreme.
Tagore actually has criticized nation states and nationalism per se. Why was that? He was not in favor of nationalism. Why?
Sir, in my opinion, Tagore was against nationalism because these are the artificial boundaries that we create, and we try to separate people on the basis of boundary. For example, if you are staying on that part of this land, you are belonging to Bangladesh. If you are staying this part of this land, you belong to India.
Between humanism and nationalism,
Yes, sir.
What do you value the most?
Sir, on the core, I value humanism more. However, I do realize that there are some instances where we should put nationalism
If
also.
you have to make a choice,
Yes, sir.
what choice that will be? Humanism or nationalism? Let me give you an example. If you make humanism as your choice,
Yes, sir.
then you will allow refugees from Myanmar,
Yes, sir.
right? But if you will make nationalism as your choice, you will not allow that
Yes, sir.
because resources are already scarce,
Yes.
right? Now tell me, what will you choose? Humanism or nationalism?
Sir, if it is a binary, then I will go for humanism only. I will go for humanism because I think it is more important for a civil servant or for any person that matter that humanistic values should come first than nationalism. However, I do realize that those officers or those people who are in charge with the duties, that they have to not allow the refugees coming inside. I think it is more important for them.
If you are that officer on the border,
Yes, sir.
and you have the authority to say
Yes,
yes
sir.
or no,
Yes, sir.
you will allow.
Sir, I will go with the authority. I will go with the authority, but in my core philosophy, I will still believe in humanism. Why that happens is because, sir, we being at a specific position, we are also responsible to some pledges, some vows that we have made. Also, it is very important to take larger step, not on the smaller picture, because if the government is saying that the resources are scanty, and if we allow more and more refugees to come in, then the people that are living in that specific area will suffer. Then it is something which is very, very rational. It is something that is true also. So it is better to follow what the government is saying, or to follow what the bigger picture is all about, rather than going for just one act of sympathy, like allowing one specific person on the humanistic
But
ground.
you just said you will be humanist. You will prefer humanism. And now you are contradicting yourself that you will go with government stand and you will not allow refugees as they will encroach upon the limited resources.
Sir, in my opinion, I am not contradicting myself. I believe in humanistic values. However, that does not mean that my action also should say the same. My action would be what the government asks, what the government or a rational government step or decision is towards. My action would be that, sir.
Okay, Ravi.
Yes, sir.
Subhash Chandra Bose,
Yes, sir.
he was a nationalist or a patriot?
Sir, he was a patriot in my opinion.
What is the difference between patriotism and nationalism?
Sir, nationalism is more towards. Sir, I would not be able to give a better answer about it.
How would you like to identify yourself, a nationalist or a patriot?
Sir, a patriot would be the one that I would go forward to.
What makes you laugh in life? What makes you laugh?
So almost everything that happens, the thing that those things which happen to the people that they are enjoying their life. If I see someone, and even if the life is decent with me, even if even if it is a regular life, it is not very enthusiastic life. If it is not a life which is full of thrills and everything else, it makes me laugh. It makes me laugh that why the things is why so-called the generalistically good thing are happening with me, even when I do not deserve. For example, even if when I was born in a family which I was lucky to be born in, which is financially very, very good, I laugh sarcastically on it. Like I did nothing good pre-birth that I was given the opportunity to be born in such a thing. However, on the lighter side, being a laughter, sir, playing my sports that I love, enjoying my hobbies that I enjoy, and watching a lot of comedy acts, and also doing a lot of sports activities make me laugh.
What makes you sad?
So seeing the present situation of the economy also makes me sad, because I think economy entails a larger picture, and seeing small things that comes up in the news. When I open the news and I see that specific happen of Naxalism happen, those start to make me question what is all the laugh about if something this is happening. But it is important to understand that small things and things keep on happening. It's just a way of expression of your life, that you should keep going on. The way you should keep on working on your responsibilities, keep your duties safe, and try to discharge what you are supposed to be discharging at the best of your capabilities, sir.
What inspires you?
Sir, everything. To be quite honest, I would say from people to things to other philosophies, that all inspires. For example, my father inspires me. 2 or 3 of my friends also inspire me, because I've come to know the amount of work that they do. These are all the
What inspiration do you draw from this interview?
So first one would be to should have gone washroom before coming to the interview. Other than that,
is awareness, not inspiration.
Yes, sir, it would be an awareness.
What inspiration would you draw from this interview?
Sir, this is my second mock, and I think I have done a little bit better than the other one. So in my opinion, that is a precedent which is not good. So I've done quite good amount of work from the last one to this one. So that difference will good enough to motivate me. Second thing is, sir, talking to 3 of the best luminaries people that I can talk to, it always brings up enthusiasm and inspiration.
Have you heard about Gandhiji's dream, the India of my dreams? Have you heard about this term?
Sir, I've heard about
India of my dreams.
Sir, I've heard, but I'm not.
So, what is India of your dreams? What kind of India you?
Sir, the India that I want, which I wish should come immediately, also would entails few things which are core to me. First is the social justice should be established. It does not matter how many people will not feel that the thing is happening good or not. The social justice should be established as soon as possible. It should be either through the way of the positive discrimination that we may do, or the protective discrimination that we can do. Social justice is must for my India. Second is, for my India, those 3 concepts of the French Revolution, the equality, liberty, and brotherhood, that should come at no cost. And finally, people with the moral satisfaction and the ethical satisfaction that overall encompasses my India, my dream of India, and also the India which is not just competing but is leading the world in almost all the fields.
Okay, Ravi, it was nice interacting with you.
Thank you, sir.
Wait outside, we'll call you back for your fee.
Thank you, sir.
ओवरऑल आपके परफॉर्मेंस में बहुत इम्प्रूवमेंट चला है.
Okay, sir.
ठीक है, इसको आप एक लर्निंग कर्व की तरह लें, जिससे कि आप जो अपने फ्लॉज हैं उनको आइडेंटिफाई कर सकें.
Yes, sir.
You were well dressed for the occasion.
Thank you, sir.
You appear very decent.
Thank
You
you.
are very polite by nature.
Thank you, sir.
But on such an important day, prefer a clean shaved face.
Yes, sir. I'll try that.
It shows a kind of
Laziness.
and not such a decent attitude reflection of your
Okay,
presence.
sir.
कुछ जो मेजर चेंजेस आपको करने पड़ेंगे while you answer your questions.
Yes.
देखो, जब कोई स्पेसिफिक क्वेश्चन होता है, you choose between this or that, तो आप ये मत बोलिए कि I'll choose it. However, moreover, you can do that in one or the other very difficult choices. You understand that? But in most of the choices you did that. So you did not choose.
Yes, sir.
Practically, you did not choose anything.
Yes, sir. Yes.
And listen to the words in the question very carefully. Asked you what inspires you. And you confuse the words inspiration and awareness.
Yes, yes.
Very bad on your part. Secondly, asked you a few things about your optional.
Yes,
like
sir.
spatial emancipation.
Yes, sir.
You should know about these things. Because you see, if you fail to answer some current affairs related issue, the board will spare you. But if you fail to answer with respect to information provided by you in your detailed application form, is your biodata related information,
Yes, sir.
or optional choice, was that imposed over it or you have chosen it?
I have chosen.
Yes,
Sir.
so you should know it inside out. I know you know it
Okay.
because you have qualified the means examination.
Okay, sir.
But in the interview, dear, your best point should come as the first point.
Okay, sir.
In mains examination, you hold your best point for the last moment in the conclusion, so as to create an impression over the evaluator.
Yes.
But here in interview, maybe the person who is asking you the question will not allow you a second sentence.
Yes.
Maybe he'll interject and ask a supplementary or an ancillary question.
Yes, sir.
Clear? You need to work a lot with respect to your hobby section.
Yes, sir.
Because you
That has to be-
highlighted only one hobby, and that is acoustic guitar.
Yes, sir.
Clear? And coincidentally, it's also my hobby.
Okay, sir.
Do you understand that?
Yes,
so
sir.
there can be someone sitting in the board who holds a similar hobby,
Okay.
like your hobby, or otherwise interested in that thing. And if you cannot name, like say for example, if cricket is your hobby and you do not know that what is the meaning of wicket,
Yes, sir.
then it does not give a very good reflection. Hobby
Yes,
is
sir.
something which you pursue passionately. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
It shows only a kind of vague interest in that. Do you get
Okay.
that?
Yes, sir.
So, you must know many things about acoustic guitar, Indian
Yes, the
acoustic
parts.
guitar players, all those kind of things. The questions that
Yes, sir.
I have asked with respect to it. Further, you were dragging your statements too much.
Yes, sir. I was also feeling there's a lot
That
of
made your interview painfully long.
Yes, sir.
Sometimes we felt disinterested in your answer because it was too much drag. Be to the point, specific, short. Yeah?
Okay, sir.
Short, keep your answers very short and very specific to the question that has been asked. And when, suppose the members in the board, they contradict you,
Yes,
it
sir.
would be good that you gently apologize at that moment, even if you do not agree to that.
Okay, sir.
Clear? Do not get into a confrontationist kind of situation with them. Clear?
Sure, sir.
There were many questions like Gandhi versus Ambedkar, and then
Yes, sir.
there was this nationalism versus patriotism. You were not able to give convincing answers.
Okay, sir.
And in the first part of your interview, you were struggling to pronounce the word liberty.
Sir,
It was not coming to you. I can understand
liberty. हाँ, liberty नहीं आ रहा था, sir.
It was not coming to you, but it is not expected you.
Yes, sir.
To a
Liberty.
candidate who is appearing for civil services interview.
Yes, sir. Liberty.
Clear? So, these are few improvements which I would suggest. And along with that, improve your eye contact as well. The eye contact, when sir asked you a question,
Yes, sir.
you look at him and then you pass some glance at me, and then you did not look at sir even for a few minutes.
Yes, sir.
Member in the panel might feel neglected. You often feel offended. The correct way is look at the person who is asking you the question
Yes,
very
sir.
softly. Do not gaze.
Okay, sir.
Very softly, and then while you are answering, predominantly, you look at that person who has asked you the question, but also pass some intermediate soft glances to the other members as well. Clear?
Okay,
A hard glance or a piercing look, especially if a lady member is sitting in the panel,
Yeah, it
might be detrimental to your cause. Clear?
Okay, sir.
So these are few improvements here which I suggest. That
Okay,
is
sir.
my feedback with respect to your answer.
Thank you, sir.
Ravi,
Yes, sir.
the moment you made an entry into the hall,
Yes,
I
sir.
was impressed.
Thank you, sir.
Right? It showed confidence. You walked in with confidence.
Thank you, sir.
Unbuttoned your coat and sat down, which is the right thing to do.
Thank you, sir.
Right? So it was good till such time. But shaving was one thing which was a little irksome.
Yes, sir.
That would have done much better. Your sitting position was good.
Thank you, sir.
Right? Because generally, when people tend to sit forward, it becomes a little more, it displays a little more lack of confidence. You sat well.
Thank you, sir.
Only thing which I felt, hand position was good. You
Thank
kept
you,
your
sir.
hands on your knees.
Thank you, sir.
You didn't move them around much. That was nice.
Yes.
Couple of instances, I thought you wanted to move your hands around, but you restrained. if you do that, it will be advisable to lock your hands and keep them in front of you.
Okay, sir.
That is a better position because that this shows a little bit of stiffness.
Yes, sir.
This shows a little bit of informality.
Okay.
This is a little better position than sitting like this.
Okay, sir.
Right? This is a little better position.
Okay, sir.
The only thing which worked was your eye contact.
Okay, sir.
Your eyeball movement was very, very frisky.
Okay.
Very sharp. Tuck, 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 tuck.
Yes, sir. Sometimes it did happen. Yes.
So, it was actually little uncomfortable. As what was pointed out, it should be soft nuances.
Yes, sir.
It is not tuck, tuck, no. Casual, and then it goes back. Then again it goes, and again comes back. It has to be very, very smooth.
Okay, sir.
Not sharp, right? Not abrupt.
Okay, sir.
Same thing with your eyeball movement also. Right? Your eye contact as well as eyeball movement.
Okay, sir.
Both have to be smooth and not abrupt or sharp.
Okay, sir.
Answers were very long.
They were long, yes, sir.
You could have easily cut down the duration of the interview by almost about 20 odd minutes.
Yes, sir.
Right? So, because the more you're speaking, the more you're giving options to the other person to ask you more questions. And it would have been better that you shorten your answers. That would have been much better.
Yes, sir. I will definitely.
And if you had shaved, it would have been good.
Yes, sir. I will try to.
Second time when you came in, you lifted the cushion cover and sat down.
Yes, sir.
Good. It showed awareness.
Thank you, sir.
Nice. But for your eye contact and the long answers.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Ravi,
Yes, sir.
so shaving was highlighted. Initially you were confident, but later on you looked a bit stressed. I don't know why.
Sir, वो toilet आ रहा था बहुत ज़्यादा.
So you should plan it in advance.
Yes, sir. I actually went. I drank way too much water. I went to the washroom just for coming, but I drank way too much.
You should
And
plan
the
all
temperature.
this in advance.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Eye contact was the major problem, the biggest problem. Was
Okay,
eye
sir.
contact. In case of eye contact, rather than moving just eyeball, you should move your complete head.
Okay,
that
sir.
would be more professional.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And even if some panelist is doing something like this, or he is drinking water, you should not look at what he is doing. You should focus on your work.
Yes,
you
sir.
are answering questions.
Things. Yes, sir.
One instance was happened with me was that someone was asking some question and I was drinking water.
Yes, sir.
So
I
looked at me like that.
Yes, sir.
That should not be the case.
Yes, sir.
Do not take names of private news channel unless and until specifically asked. NDTV is against BJP.
The way kind of news it shows. Yes,
It is showing good news, but
Yes,
the
sir.
reason being you do not know the tilt of panelists.
Yes, sir. Yes. Sir.
Okay, so why to take risk? If some panelist is asking you that name a good channel, then you can say. But otherwise,
sir.
why you are falling in such a trap? You yourself are giving the fodder.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That was a mistake.
So don't do that. You can take Rajya Sabha TV. That was the
Rajya
perfect
Sabha
one.
Yes, sir.
One instance where your answer was a bit problematic was you said, "Now I don't want to risk my life." That is
Risky.
a comfortable situation to be in. If you are selected for IPS and you
Yes,
are
sir.
going into the encounter,
Yes, sir.
so how can you not want to risk your life? If you do not want to risk your life altogether, IPS should be the last preference.
Sir, I meant to. It did not came out good. I meant to say irrationally.
Maybe the words should be different.
Yes, sir. They should have been a lot different than what I did.
But that I do not know. Actually, your interview went for too long.
Yes, sir.
If you have kept your answer for shorter, then I would have asked this question.
Okay.
Why you do not want to risk your life?
Okay, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So the panelist might take an offense for that.
Okay, sir.
And you said M. Visvesvaraya was your idol.
Yes.
And you are not sure of it. What he
His
did.
work.
See, the problem is, someone has asked you that who is your idol.
Yes,
You
sir.
said, Sir M. Visvesvaraya. But I am not sure what work he did.
Sir, it
If
looks
he is
bad.
your idol, then why you are not sure?
Yes, sir. It looks a little bit bad.
Someone has forced that idol upon you?
No,
that
sir.
you should idealize this person only?
No, sir. No, sir. No, sir.
Why you are doing it?
Yes, sir. I will try to make more confirm ideas about it.
So think properly, plan
Yes,
in
sir.
advance. Okay, this is my ideal, because such kind of questions will be repeated in the actual interview.
Yes, sir.
So you should plan in advance. Okay, who is my ideal? What has he did?
Okay.
Even some of his flaws.
Yes, sir. It is.
Everything should be prepared in advance.
Yes, sir.
Okay. The one good answer which I liked about your was civil engineer. That role
Thank
of
you,
civil engineer, what is the significance or something like that.
Thank you,
Or
sir.
I think sir questioned you about that IIT Roorkee government has wasted a seat on you.
Yes,
And
sir.
you beautifully justified that what you learned from civil engineering.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
So such kind of answers you should give and you should plan in advance.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Otherwise, you are good.
Thank you, sir.
So, Ravi, as rightly pointed out, I deliberately did this on several occasions. First with the marker and then with the pencil.
Yes, sir.
Just to draw your attention.
It went multiple times.
And every time I did this, so at my hand. Even when I was looking in your face.
Yes, sir. I
At
understand.
your face. So you must also, you should not lose your attention so easily.
Yes, sir.
It shows a kind of attitude in you that you are very easily you can get distracted.
Yes, sir.
And there can be stress-like situation, there can be crisis-like situation where you have to be very attentive
Yes, sir.
to the issue at hand. Suppose there is a terrorist attack and you are an IPS officer.
Yes, sir.
You understand that?
It
And if somebody's phone rings at that time, and suppose you are answering to the minister with respect to the steps you are taking, and you are also interested in the message,
Oh, yes, sir.
come over. So it shows very bad. It's not a good reflection. You
Yes.
understand that? Dear?
Yes, sir.
So, Ravi, based on today's performance,
Yes, sir.
and I know that you are still improving. When is your interview?
So mine is on 12th of May.
12th of May.
I have
So,
one month.
not much time is left.
Yes, sir.
Because time flies by, you understand.
Yes, sir.
But work on the flaws that the panel has highlighted.
Yes, sir.
And purely based on today's performance and averaging the individual marks,
Yes, sir.
the panel is of the opinion that if this is how you give your interview on that day, then you will end up with anything between 160 to 170, 164, 65 to be more precise.
Okay, sir.
And Ravi, if you work on your flaws, then
Yes, sir.
definitely you may see an addition of 30, 35 marks also to this mark.
Sir, I'll try to do that,
Yeah?
sir.
And definitely you do that, dear.
Yes,
and see, you have age on your side.
Thank you, sir.
Otherwise, you appear very vibrant,
Thank you very much.
very disciplined, so polite and gentle. So there is hardly any reason to reject you unless you give them one.
And I gave multiple.
You give multiple by speaking more.
Yes, sir.
Sometimes you should speak less, but
Okay.
appropriate and to the point.
So that I will try to improve.
And whenever a question was being asked to you, you also justified the other half of the question which you were neglecting. You are not willing to answer that. I mean, you are given to make a choice. Everybody knows that he wants to be patriot as well as nationalist.
Yes.
He wants to follow Gandhi as well as Ambedkar.
Yes,
Then
sir.
where is the decision-making power?
Yes,
you
sir.
are always
Yes,
in your comfort zone.
yes, that doesn't show the clarity
Yes.
in that. Yes.
You understand that?
Yes,
With
sir.
more mock interviews, you will improve.
Sir, definitely I'll try to do that.
Okay, dear, you can come over and collect your feedback sheets.
Shukriya, sir.
If there is any specific question, you can ask. You can collect the sheets first.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Sir, as of now, I have no idea. Sir, I actually need to know, like, if I do not know anything, did I really ask too many guesses that I should not have asked about? Because I asked way too much, sir.
You can have a
Thank you, sir.
if many times you started your answer, I think I would like to take a guess.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. There were
Something
so
like
many times.
There were so many of that kind, and mostly with respect to your hobbies.
That is one thing
That is one section. It means you were totally exposed in that section.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You need to improve on that part.
Yes, sir.
So that would be my suggestion.
Okay.
It should not be too much. One or two instances will be pardoned by the panel, but way too much indulgence into I think, I guess,
Yes, it shows
I feel
like
kind of thing
conviction.
not be tolerated by the panel.
Okay, sir.
Ravi, one more thing.
Yes, sir.
Whenever you are answering something, your answer looked very casual. Such as, for example, panelist asked you that highlight 3 steps which will you take.
Yes, sir.
Then you cannot see like there are multiple steps which we can take, and one is this, one is this, one is this.
Oh, yes.
That shows casualness. You are in a formal interview.
Yes, sir. Yes.
So there could be multiple steps. First one is this, second one is this.
Okay, the way I say.
The same is same. For example, you come here and I tell you, Ravi, sit here. And the
Yes,
other
sir.
panelists say, Ravi, sit here.
Said the
words are same.
Yes, sir.
But how you say it, that makes a lot more difference. Okay? You can offend also some panelists by your words,
Yes, sir.
and you can please also. Okay? So you have to change your tone in such a manner that it does not offend anyone. It looks more formal. Okay? Even your facial expressions. Sometimes your facial expressions were too casual, too informal.
Okay, sir. It can
Okay? Too much smiling. Your smile is good.
Thank you.
But only light smile.
Okay, sir.
And in case, supposing you don't know the answer to a question,
Yes, sir.
there's no harm in saying, I'm not aware.
Okay, sir.
You don't have to say, I think, and then answer. Because what you think may not be what would be right.
Yes, sir.
So, there's no harm in saying, I'm not aware. But whatever are your inputs that you have given in your
Depth. I
for
should
those you have to be
crystal clear.
absolutely clear.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
One last thing, Ravi, which I would like to say is, do you intend to repeat this attire on the day of interview?
Sir, I can go for any changes if you wish.
Okay, one slight variation which I would like to see is your watch.
Sir, no, this is different. This is just to
wristband.
come. Sir, this is just to come. I came on the time, so this is just for today. Actually, they do not allow also the wristwatch. They take it off.
There is no watch.
Yes, sir.
But this would definitely
Yes, sir. This looks.
not
This is
be
a
the right.
wrist.
So if you are coming to an interview or
Yes, sir.
in UPSC also you're not allowed to wear the
Yes,
watch.
sir. Yes, sir.
So you should take away.
Yes, sir.
that
Definitely,
thing.
I'll try to do
Stand
this.
to go for any mock interviews or even for
Yes, sir.
any outlet.
Yes,
So,
sir.
Thank
you, sir.
Work on the feedbacks.
Yes,
and there
sir.
will be definitely.
Thank you, sir. Shukriya, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All the best.
Thank you very much, sir.